Hello and welcome to the Times of India. You're with me, Aditi Prasad, on Times of India News Point. Now, Pakistan and Afghanistan are standing on the brink once again. Cross border strikes are intensifying, the rhetoric is sharp, the risks are real. And now Iran has stepped in, offering to facilitate dialogue. Not just Iran, even Russia and Turkey. But is this only about de escalation? Or is there a bigger geopolitical game unfolding? Is this about the US control of the Bagram Air Force Base in Afghanistan? Joining us tonight are Major General Sanjay Meston, Major General AK Siwach, and Major General Rajan Kochhar as we decode the military risks, the Trump factor, and Iran's moves, and whether this crisis is spiraling beyond Kabul and Islamabad. Welcome, sirs. Welcome to the show. Let me start with you, Major General Sanjay Meston. This particular rift, this sudden escalation over the last 2 days, what is, what is this cause of this rift between Taliban and Pakistan's military establishment?
Sorry, your last I could not hear. What is the call?
The what is the cause of this sudden escalation between, because these tensions have been going on for several months now. This sudden escalation, is there an immediate trigger point?
Aditi, good evening. Firstly, I would
Good
like to
evening.
highlight that this is not sudden escalation. You know, since 2011, when I was there in
Yeah.
Afghanistan, I recollect large number of clashes used to take between Afghanistan and Pakistan soldiers, the Afghan army. And there were some major incidents that time also. For example, in 2013 May, there was a Khosta incident in which the Afghan soldiers had attacked them and destroyed their post. So what I'm trying to highlight that this has been an ongoing thing happening. Now, why it is suddenly escalated into this level where air and everything is being used by the Pakistan army? I think your introductory remark I can take on from here, because when these clashes were even happening then between the Afghan and the Pakistan army, let me tell you firstly that time it was not recognized as the Pakistan army also never called this as a international border. They used to call it as Durand line. Way back in
Right.
2012, the instructions came to the armed forces that from this year onward, they will start calling it as the international border. Now, this was all perhaps the British and the US pressure. And I would be very candid that when these clashes are happening, the ISF, International Security Assistance Force, which were deployed in these areas, it happened a number of times that they would side with the Pakistan army, allowing Pakistani soldiers to intrude into into Afghan territory and start establishing and setting up new posts. So
Hmm.
therefore, my assessment that time was that there was some kind of a linkage between the ISF towards the Pakistan army, and why so? Because their logistics used to transit, and that was being extracted, so that mileage was being extracted from Pakistan. Now, very rightly pointed out the Bagram Air Base. I think that
Right.
perhaps is very important, and the way the peace talks are going on in Geneva between Iran and between US, I think something is going on behind the scene where Iran is ready to mediate, and United States has got the long-term aim of even taking Bagram. Now they know they cannot take it single-handedly. Reason being, because United States armed forces with 52 nations suffered a massive defeat and they had to withdraw disgracefully. So therefore, the option is using their proxy, and who's that proxy? It is Pakistan, and Pakistan is now being emboldened to do all this blatantly, cowardice act by targeting the women and children by air. And this has been a past pattern, but I also would like to highlight that the Pakistan army has got no love lost for Pashtuns on either side of the border. If you just go on the internet and type scenarios, whether it is in all these provinces or districts of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, the Pakistan army has been brutal in using artillery, helicopter gunships and air against their own people, so-called own people, which are the Pashtuns. So these are harsh reality, and now I foresee that the things are going to unfold in such a manner. Now the Afghan blood is on a boil. Now no holds, no bar, nothing stops them, and perhaps now they will go on full throttle. And Pakistan army may have air superiority, may have everything, but let me tell you the will of the Afghan forces and the will of the Afghan nation to fight with all methodologies of insurgency and counter terrorism. I think they know now what is in for them. I think this is the time Pakistan's Khyber Pakhtunkhwa finally may link up to form a greater Pashtunistan. This is what my understanding of the situation is, and the escalation cause
That's
could be, yeah.
okay. That's a very big statement, sir. Takeover of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. And let me bring in Major General Rajan Kochhar at this point. What is the, if you were to compare the military strength, sure, Afghanistan has all the will on its side because, they were once the sort of the students, or rather the bachas, if I may use the word, of this very same Pakistani army, the Taliban, and now they've obviously turned against them. They don't want to put all their eggs in the Taliban basket. They've grown in the Pakistan basket. They've grown wiser since their second return. But my question to you is, sir, how do the artilleries match up on both sides? Because Pakistan, at the end of the day, is a full-fledged state with Pakistan army backing the entire operation against Afghanistan. On the other hand, there is Afghanistan. Again, not a very sophisticated army, air force, or strike back power as Pakistan.
Thank you, Aditi, and it's very interesting perspective you actually brought out. Uh, there is, in terms of conventional force, we are talking here because you are mentioning the armies of the two sides. In terms of conventional strength, Pakistan army is around 5.5 lakh strong army, and two cores, 11 core and 12 core at Quetta and Peshawar, they are positioned here on the Afghanistan border. Taking the strength of the two cores, I would uh, uh, come to a conclusion that they have in terms of excess of your 1 lakh troops in this area. Now, coming to Afghanistan is not a regular army as such, but they have a force level of slightly more than a lakh of people. They lack firepower in terms of sophisticated missiles, ballistic cruise missiles. They don't have that kind of firepower. And as far as artillery is also there, they have some artillery guns, but those are basically the ones either of the Soviet origin or of the US have actually left them
Left
back in
behind, yes.
2021. Uh, uh, when we talk about the air power, there is no comparison because the Taliban does not have any air power worth the name, and Pakistan with their F-16s and other aircrafts, JF-17s are far more superior than Afghanistan. So, in terms of conventional strength, uh, there is no parity. But then you have to understand. I've done a bit of a terrain analysis here because if we talk about a conventional war, I don't think that is coming in because this entire area can be divided into three broad tactical zones. One is the northwest sector, that is the Torkham and the Khyber Pass. This is a mountainous area with a number of ridge lines, difficult for attacker to carry out an attack in case the defender is positioned on a higher ground. Second is the central mountain sector, Spin, Bodak, and Chaman area. If you look at the Chaman, you're crossing two major crossings are there, Torkham and Chaman. And the third is the southern sector, which is the Ghazni, Paktika, and the Bajaur axis. So I don't think Pakistan is going to carry out any ground operations here because it is very very vulnerable, and the Taliban's are quite you adapt in guerrilla warfare. So I don't think
Guerrilla warfare.
that will happen. So the Pakistan strategy more will be missiles, air power, drones, these kind of attacks on their major communication and command control centers. And we have seen in is Nangarhar and Pakita and all these areas, Kabul also they carried out these attacks. But what a difference in strategy is going to be that Afghans or the Taliban are going to resort to asymmetric warfare. And asymmetric warfare, I mean, if you look at the 2,640 kilometers of border,
Yeah.
Pakistani posts are separated by almost 15-20 kilometers. So there are large gaps in this border. They have used this gap because 19 Pakistani posts have been overpowered, and none of the Pakistani posts can actually support each other. So it's a battle in actually isolation. So they have taken advantage of this fact. The second is, I think, this suicide attacks in places like Rawalpindi, Islamabad, and Karachi cannot be ruled out. We have seen this happening earlier also, where TTP and other organizations have carried out these kind of attacks. So I think the strategy of the Afghanis is going to be, or the Taliban is going to be, to destabilize Pakistan from within Pakistan, and
Right.
there are a number of refugees, Afghanistani refugees who are staying inside Pakistan and who are not accounted for. 12 to 14 lakh refugees are staying in Pakistan, and their identification is not done for all of them. So they
Hmm.
are the sources of intelligence for them. They are like human minds inside Pakistan. So I think Pakistan would be uh, making a very big mistake if it wants to escalate this war, because in case of escalation, there is going to be asymmetrical, like a hybrid or a proxy war within Pakistan, which I think Pakistan will not be able to take it on. And my last point is, I don't think this is anything about Bagram, because I don't think this is anything about the US. The main trigger of this was, if you remember, 17 Pakistani soldiers were captured by
Soldiers.
the DLA, and 10 were returned, and 7 were in captivity, which Pakistan denied. Pakistan did not accept their own soldiers. I'm reminded of the Kargil war. They did the same thing here. So that was the provocation. The second Euro provocation was a suicide bombing attack in Islamabad. So all these things were happening, and if you see the image of the Pakistan army within their own people in Pakistan is very very high, and they can't let down their image, so they had to do some kind of a strike to resurrect themselves in the eyes of their own people. And that
Got
is
it.
why, and if you remember, 6 months back also there was a similar kind of a strike in Kabul. So I think these were the major reasons why Pakistan went into these air strikes, and which are still you continuing.
Let me
Aditya.
bring in Major General AK Siwach at this point. So thank you for joining us. So your thoughts, is this more of an Asim Munir ploy to sort of bring back his credibility, as Major General Kochhar was pointing out, in the eyes of his own people? Or is there a larger geopolitical game, according to you, that is at play?
When Diti on 15th August 2021, when Afghan Taliban had taken over Afghanistan, that is the time when people in Pakistan were overjoyed, and they thought
Right.
that they will get a strategic depth. That is the time when India realized it. this movement of happiness is not going to be too long. The reason is simple. There are three main fault lines. One is Afghanistan does not recognize the Durand line. The second thing is the Pashtun on the either side want to join Afghanistan. And third thing is that they want a Sharia law. In addition to that, two other issues have been added on. One is that the Pashtuns, which were staying in Pakistan for almost 25 to 30 years, and they have been now pushed to Afghanistan. And this is a very big resentment which has taken place in Afghanistan. And the second issue is Pakistan is now blaming Afghanistan of giving bases to TTP, because the TTP is becoming very, very strong in last about 2 3 years, and it is striking Pakistan army in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and there is a heavy casualty which is taking place. Almost about 10 to 15 soldiers killed almost every second, third day. So therefore, the problem is now deteriorating, and Pakistan is claiming that the maximum bases of TTP are in Afghanistan. So they are striking from there, and that is why Pakistan is not able to control the situation in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, coupled with what is happening in Balochistan, because the BLA, which is doing a freedom struggle, is also very, very active, and they are also hitting very hard in Pakistan army. The morale of Pakistan army is very low. And I suppose now Pakistan army under General Asim Munir, they thought that the only way is to hit in Afghanistan, and they wanted to hit the basis of TTP in Afghanistan. That's why they carried out certain raids initially, especially in all these provinces which are bordering Durand line, whether it is Khosat province, Nangarhar, Patika, and thereafter the Afghanistan has to retaliate. They retaliated it. They did what they are good at. What are they good at? You see, remember one thing is there, that they are extremely good in guerrilla warfare. They are not a regular type of soldier. And on Durand line, if the last time the conflict which had taken place between Afghanistan and Pakistan, that is the time when they captured almost 10 to 12 posts which are still held by them, and about 20 to
Right.
30 Pakistani soldiers were killed. And this time they repeated again. They killed almost 50 to 60 soldiers. They again occupied about 15 to 20 posts. So the Pakistan is on the back foot. And what Pakistan thought is that they can retaliate now is by using air power, because the air power they have edge, air defense they have edge, which Afghanistan do not have much, and that's how they have strike on Kabul. But they forgot that the Afghanistan has got drones. So the drones are very difficult to be detected. They can't be detected by the normal radar, and that's how they use radar. They use drones, and they were also able to hit in certain military installation very close to Islamabad, Nowshera, Abbottabad. Now, why this situation is happening, what it is happening? The point is that yes, the US interest was there, that US want bases here, and Pakistan has already given the bases, and there is a chances of Pasni Island also given by Pakistan. When Al Jawari was killed in Kabul a few years back, the drones flew from Pakistan only. So Pakistan is an ally of US, and Pakistan will do anything and everything for getting dollars from the US, because this IMF and World Bank loan are given kind courtesy US, and if US says anything to Pakistan, they will do it. And as on today, there is seemingly looks to be a bone humming between Donald Trump and also between Pakistan, and also mainly with Asim Munir. So having said that, where is the basically the, you can say, weakness of Afghanistan? Remember, Afghanistan is a landlocked country, and it has got only two routes to go to the sea where they can do their trade. One is through Pakistan. They were heavily dependent on Pakistan till now. The other route is through Iran. And in case
Right.
Iran, if they have to use it, is Chabar port. And Chabar port, as on today, is, though the restrictions are not there, economic sanctions have not been put so much, but in April 26, they will be again reviewed by the US. So the point come is that since Afghanistan is landlocked country, they cannot go all out against Pakistan, because they are still dependent on the routes which are going through Pakistan into the ports of Karachi. Now the point which is coming is that from this place, where do they go? How they think they are going to fan out? No, I'm sure that Qatar, Turkey, Iran, they will all now trying to mediate, and some sort of solution will be found where the peace will come temporarily. But the problem will
Hmm.
remain permanent because Durand line is the main cause and TTP is the main cause now it is happening. And the way situation is panning out in Pakistan, to me it looks like that there is a political instability, there is an economic crisis, terrorism increasing manifold. There are chances of Pakistan slipping into a civil war. And in case if the war take place, then Pakistan can break into four: Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Balochistan, Sindh, and Punjab. And POJ can Gilgit Baltistan, which is legally a part of India, illegally occupied by Pakistan, can come to India. So this is the scenario. Seemingly, it is finding out because the situation is totally not in the control of Pakistan, and the hybrid and asymmetric warfare which is being now engaged by the Taliban. I don't think they will ever able to win because no one could win against Afghanistan Taliban so far. Soviet Union came, they have to go back. The US also got defeated and went in the darkness of the night. So what will happen to Pakistan? The time will only tell. But to me, it looks to be a very gloomy picture from the Pakistan point of view.
You're talking about this, the gloomy picture from Pakistan point of view militarily. You said it's a ragtag Taliban air force which is raining fire deep inside Pakistan, is what we are hearing. At targets near Islamabad, targets near Rawalpindi. What does that say about the uh, Taliban's determination to give it back to Pakistan? Why is Taliban suddenly so anti the Pakistani establishment, or rather, which because there are elements within the Pakistani army which actually have spawned Taliban in the first place, given birth to the Taliban?
No doubt about it. Very rightly said कि whatever the relationship between Pakistan and Afghanistan were best of it before 2021. In fact, they became extremely happy when Taliban came because you see the problem of Pakistan is they do not have a strategic depth when they have to fight against a war with India, and they want Afghanistan government to be pro-Pakistan so that they can get a strategic depth. And they were overjoyed because they were helping Taliban all throughout. You see, remember that though they were officially war with US, but Donald Trump 1.0 has stopped $33 billion of aid. They say that Pakistan is double crossing them. Whatever aid we are giving to Pakistan, that same aid flows back to Taliban, which is fighting against them only, that is against US. So the point is that as far as Pakistan is concerned, it can do anything and everything for its own interest. But as on today, they are on the weak footing. Reason is simple because one is that TTP is very strong in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. TTP similarly has a basis in Afghanistan. Afghanistan Taliban is supporting them. There is no doubt. In the same time, Balochistan Liberation Army is also very strong. And Pakistan has another dilemma. Though they have a 6.6 lakh of their defense personnel compared to almost about 1.7 lakh with Afghanistan, they have a border with India. They cannot take the
Right.
troops from this side. They have a border also in Balochistan, which is a required force for their counter terrorism. So therefore, the situation is not too good for Pakistan. And in case if this war prolongs, if the symmetric war take place, I think it is advantage to Afghanistan because on Durand line you cannot use air power. You can't use artillery so effectively because there are folds in the ground. The terrain is difficult. There are caves and it only helps the guerrilla warfare. And Taliban are extremely good in that. And therefore, I feel Pakistan is on the back foot.
Major General Sanjay Meston, let me bring you in at this point. Do you agree that Pakistan, that as far as guerrilla warfare is concerned, uh, Taliban is way ahead? Does Pakistan's superior air force than Taliban, and the comparison is between these two, does that give Pakistan an edge, or is because 19 Pakistani posts along the border have been now taken over by Afghanistan completely?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd just like to highlight my name is Meston, not Mestan.
Yes, sorry. Okay, sorry. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Anyway,
Meston,
not
yes.
not to worry. Now coming on to certain issues, you repeated one of my statements that Khyber Pakhtunkhwa will be taken over by Afghan forces. No, that is not what I meant. I meant to say is that the way Pashtuns are on both sides of the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, the Pashtuns on Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, that is on the Pakistan side, obviously will side with the Afghans, and they will definitely be the one who will revolt and protest there, and I think they will get aligned. So that is what I was trying to highlight. They don't have
Okay,
the
got it.
military wherewithal to take over Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Okay.
Got sir.
Now coming on to when we said Taliban, I think I would like to state we should not use the word Taliban. As on date, it is Afghans and Afghan
Absolutely.
army. Okay, because today, yes, Taliban, the government is there, but the people of Afghanistan, I'm now referring to the people of Afghanistan and also the Afghan army, which actually most of them are now part of this the new army. The people of Afghanistan hate Pakistan not since today, they hate them since 1947. Go back into history, and that is the reason they hate them. And throughout, this is the biggest sore point to Pakistani. What is their strategy? Let's analyze the Pakistan strategy. Let me tell you, their fears are only two, and based on that two fears, it is a strategy. One is Durand line should not be awakened. The issue of Durand line should not be awakened by the people of Afghanistan. So, therefore, what was the strategy? Their strategy was to weaken them in every possible manner and keep them illiterate and uneducated so that they keep fighting. So they use them as mujahids against the Russians and everyone, and thereafter against the International Security Assistance Force. So Afghans have been seeing bloodshed and warfare since last 40 plus years. So Pakistan has achieved their aim so that the people cannot rake up the issue of Durand line. Number two
Right.
concern was a strong India on one side and a strong Afghanistan on one side is going to be devastating for this nation. And they always feared that we will just engulf them and finish them off. So what was the strategy? They started weakening them in every manner. And let me tell you, Afghan army, way back in 60s and 70s, was one of the most potent and powerful armies. They were being equipped by the Russians. And because of
Absolutely.
that, and of course, India was so strong and we were also allied with Russia. So both sides, the weapon systems were there. And therefore, what they did, they brought in Islamic radicalism, injected Islam in the madrasas and got these people and transformed them and jihadi war and everything they started. So on that front they were successful, and in 1984 they started raking up the issue of Pakistan, the Punjab, so that Indian armed forces, when we have to fight, and of course through Kashmir, that we have problems there. So they have been very clever people, and the same clever people today are being paid by the people of Afghanistan back in the same coin, because when I was there in Afghanistan, Afghan Taliban, when I used to meet them, they used to tell me one thing very clearly. General Saab, this ISI and Pakistan has exploited us. They have divided us. We have understood the strategy. Now we want to hit them back. We expect moral support from India. This they used to always tell me. So what does that imply? That today all the targets of ISI, the Pakistan army, the nerve headquarters, everything is known to Pakistan Taliban and their regular forces. So therefore today for them to hit them back, there are a number of ways. Conventionally, yes, it is not possible, but then in the guerrilla warfare, if the terrain is such, and let me tell you, on one side is in the southern side, Kandahar side is the Baluchis, and in the, of course, northwestern frontier province, which is now the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, are the Pashtuns. So the border
Absolutely.
areas are totally aligned with the Afghans. So this is why what I would reiterate, that the stage has come that Pakistan will bleed and they will cease to exist as a nation in the short run. And I think India today also has a major role. What can India do? India can do the
Okay.
following. Number one, we need to recognize Taliban. All said and done, today Russia has recognized and we need to do it. We are siding with the
China is
people of
also recognized.
yeah,
China is
and
also
yeah,
recognized.
and we are siding with Afghan people. So when it is Afghan people and we are historical and cultural friendship ties since ages. since time immemorial. In fact,
Aditi,
Indian
I'll have
Army
to
way
leave.
back
I'll
in
have to leave.
19.
I have a next
Okay,
program.
so
I'll leave.
then let me, yeah, I know, I understand. I just got a message that you have to leave, but I'll quickly come to you, sir, so you can give me your, you can give me your thoughts on this. Of course, Major General Meston says that this is the end of the road for Pakistan because it's now surrounded from all sides by all kinds of things. Do you believe there is a US role in this, or is Pakistan? Suddenly we've seen a lot of bonhomie and pictures of Asim Munir in the White House and their constant exchanges, etc. What is the US role in all of this? Because clearly, Pakistan needs money. US has allowed them to get away with blue murder and allowed them IMF loans and all of that to bail out their sinking economy, all because of suddenly Trump has become very kind towards Pakistan. Is you saying that the Bagram Air Base does not figure in this conduit at all, because it seems to a lot of people that the Bagram Air Base is one of the key focal points and Trump wants it back.
See, Aditi, don't forget China because nowhere in this discussion China has been talked about. And let me tell you that China has very high stakes in Afghanistan. China will never allow Bagram to go to the US because of proximity of its nuclear sites, which will be within the striking range of the United States. So that aspect you're absolutely very clear that Bagram, US is not going to get it, and Afghanistan has point blank said no to the US. Second important aspect you mentioned about Pakistan. You see, Pakistan will continue. Uh, I mean, it will be a visual thinking to say that Pakistan is going to disintegrate and Pakistan will disappear in thin air. No, it is there to stay. A second important aspect here is that Pakistan and US, why US is interested and why US has a role to play here is because of Baluchistan, because of the crypto currency, because of the rare earth elements. All these things is combined because Donald Trump has a commercial interest in this area. And whenever you try to understand the psyche of Donald Trump or try to understand what kind of actions he takes behind the tariffs and behind everything, the
Hmm.
transactional aspect of that relationship uh, has to be studied in detail. And that is why I feel that Donald Trump has got a transactional interest in Pakistan today, and American interests are never permanent because today the defense minister also of Pakistan made a statement that Pakistan is like a toilet paper. So that is the feeling they get all the time because US is going to use them. Today, Pakistan needs US, as you rightly mentioned, the IMF, the World Bank, and don't forget the FATF. A grey list also Pakistan came out
Absolutely.
because of US. So US has a very important linkage with Pakistan as of now. Also, the F-16 aircraft maintenance spares and the money was released by the US to uh, bring up this already downgraded F-16 fleet of Pakistan. It badly needed those spares and they got it. So you see, as long as the US has interest in Pakistan, this problem with Afghanistan will not be over. And my last point is that why this Durand line issue? Because they are Pashtuns on either side of the border. They have
Right.
ethnicities, brothers and sisters across this side. They want to unite. They don't want to separate into two countries. And that is why this Durand line is not recognized by Afghanistan because the day they recognize it, it will be like two brothers and sisters being separated. And in 1947, when Pakistan took over Baluchistan, it was against the will of the Baluchis. Baluchis didn't want to you didn't want to merge with
Didn't want
Pakistan.
a right.
Yes, and so that is what history tells us. So I think presently this situation is going to remain volatile. It may be a temporary ceasefire we may see, but there is no permanent solution in the offing because Afghanistan is not going to accept it, Pakistan is not going to agree, and this Durand line will actually remain a contentious issue between Afghanistan and Pakistan, and in times to come, maybe with a greater stability Afghanistan has because today there are a large number of sanctions on Afghanistan. It is economically dependent on you other countries also. UN also does not recognize Taliban today. Though
Right.
Afghanistan is a member of the UN, but Taliban is not recognized by the UN. So all these
But
factors have to
right,
come
sir.
into play.
Before you go, I will come to you, Major General Meston. I know you had a point about the Baluchis. I will come to you in just a minute. I'll just take a thought from Major General Kochhar before he goes on. What does this mean for India? Is this whatever is happening between Afghanistan and Pakistan? What does it mean for India? And 3 years down the line, 1 year down the line, how is it going to sort of play out? If you could just sum that up in a couple of lines.
Yeah, I'll just you know, it's not good news for India. Let me tell you, because India has now pledged a large number of projects in Afghanistan, $3 billion of investment already there,
Yeah.
and which has to be resuscitated, and five more important projects have been outlined by the Minister of External Affairs. So, in case Afghanistan is not stable, none of your projects are going to fructify there. So that is the concern for India, and also the trade part. $2.6 billion of trade was taking place between Pakistan and Afghanistan. It has been stopped there. So now the Chabar issue is there. But with the Iran thing also you know, coming up, and our access to Chabar has been closed down now because India has exited from Chabar as of now. So I think it's going to be very, very difficult for India now to uh, keep up its interest in Afghanistan unless the situation with Iran and the US stabilizes, because there is no other way India can actually get into Afghanistan.
Got it. All right. Thank you so much, sir, and thank you for your time. I'd like you to please, if you need to go, please leave the room and exit. But we'd love to talk to you again about this emerging situation and in our volatile, very volatile neighborhood. Major General Meston, I'm going to come to you, and then I will come for final words from Major General Siwach. Sir, what were you saying about Baluchistan? You wanted to come in between.
So, not exactly about Balochistan. See, we must understand, we as generals, when we make statement, I think a statement was made by two of the generals here, General Siwach and Sil, that Pakistan will collapse, they will disintegrate. That does not mean that Pakistan will vaporize or it will
Absolutely.
vanish. No,
We
let me
understand. It's
explain.
just a manner of speaking.
No,
Yeah.
no. So, because it sends a wrong perception to the armed public. What does it imply? It implies that Khyber Pakhtunkhwa will become part of Afghanistan, and it is to India's national interest. Balochistan will become an independent territory. POK, as General Siwach said, it will come back to us on their own. We don't have to do anything. Today, when a state is in such condition, economically it is bad, militarily it is so bad, it is just surviving by aid, financial aid. People of Pakistan are not with them. The population over there, the Afghan population on the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa is not side with them. So Pakistan will collapse. But collapse does not mean that the geography will vanish. So I think that's a wrong impression someone got. Number two, China factor. Now let me be very clear. Let us not give too much of credibility to China. China's aim is very, very clear. Along with Pakistan, they were thinking of constructing roads and tracks and including a railway line to Afghanistan through Wakhan corridor. That is the Wakajir Pass. When I was there, I'm aware about this, and I counted this to the Chinese ambassador, who is incidentally the ambassador now in India. Number two, they were talking about a train connectivity through Peshawar directly to Kabul. Who's doing this? This is being done by China. Number three, the Chinese today are doing so much of investment in minerals in Afghanistan. They tell the Afghans are telling me, send Indians. They don't want Chinese there because they know Chinese are going to finish them. So what I'm trying to say is that today India's main enemy is China and main enemy is Pakistan. So why have soft corner for China and saying, they have their different, interest there? Sorry, their interest is very clear. They want to engulf entire Afghanistan and swipe away its mineral resources. So keeping all those mind, as you raised the question, what should be India's? India
Right.
is, it has to take advantage. Let's play the Pakistan strategy. What is Pakistan strategy? They want to destabilize India by sending terrorists, by wrecking up Bangladesh, by going to Myanmar and Northeast, by sending terrorists through Bangladesh. Should India keep watching quietly and sitting? No. It is high time today India needs to get involved in Afghanistan, not militarily. We can send so much things to them. We can send UAVs. We can train them. There are so many ways. We had trained their Afghan army. And same Afghan army people who are trained in the Indian Military Academy and National Defense Academy, we have to just send these items. We have to embolden them. We have to open up the western front of Pakistan. That is the way to teach them. And otherwise, let me tell you, if we keep watching and waiting, Afghans will have no friends. Who's their friend today? Is America going to come? America definitely has an interest in Bagram. This incident, whether it is related to Bagram, possibility exists. One of the possibility. But their long-term aim is to squeeze Afghans in every manner. So
Right.
this is what the Pakistan strategy is. And let me tell you, even Iranians are not friend of Afghans. When the refugees used to go there, they have had brutal treatment to them. Since I was there, I am aware about these areas. So what I'm trying to say is that today the only trusted friend of Afghanistan can be Russia and can be India. And we are the closest. We have our interest. We can. China has played, Turkey has played against us in Op Sindoor. We know it. Why shouldn't today India start playing through Afghanistan in our own way? No boots on grounds are required. There are ways and methodologies exist to stand by a friend. Afghan has been a true and trusted friend of India since time immemorial, since civilizational. So this is
Right.
what India's strategy can be. Otherwise, we'll miss the boat, and
And
Pakistan and China will take the advantage.
and perhaps Major General AK Siwach, maybe that is India's strategy, and that is exactly what India has been doing. Do you agree with that?
Very correct. Aditi, the thing is very clear that if you don't make use of opportunity, the opportunity will not come again. If you want to make Pakistan weak, so it is in our interest to have a very good relation with Afghanistan. And we have not recognized Taliban government, but we have already started our diplomacy and diplomatic mission is already started. And the point is, we have already invested about $3 billion there. Our projects are by and large either completed
Right.
or they're underway. We will continue. And I fully agree on this that we want to have the best of the relation of Afghanistan, and having good relation with Afghanistan means you have to weaken Pakistan. Now, very correctly also appreciated the biggest enemy today India has is one is China, because China, you do whatever it may be, the relationship can never become normal till the time we resolve this line of actual control, and that does not seem to be resolved in another a decade or two. And as far as Pakistan is concerned, it will keep on sponsoring terrorism. So therefore, it is our interest to make Pakistan as weak as feasible, and that can only be made that as far as Afghanistan is concerned, the connectivity which we were giving to Afghanistan through Chabar, then going to Central Asian state and connecting with North-South transport corridor was also accepted by US. US has understood it. Over dependence upon Pakistan to go to Afghanistan is suicidal, and to me it looks like in April 26th, they have already given us a waiver. We will able to get a waiver from US, and we will not leave Chabar. Chabar is very crucial for Indian interest. As far as China is concerned, no denying Afghanistan is very important for them from the middle point of view. They wanted to also extend China-Pakistan economic corridor to Afghanistan, but there are certain you can say precaution which China is now feeling it, because the China Pakistan economic corridor is not a successful project in Pakistan, because it is not successful in Balochistan, and especially Gwadar port is totally now vacant. There are no ships which are coming, and also almost 35% of projects have not started. So they are feeling it, if they not successful in Pakistan, how will they successful in Afghanistan? Because the point which is coming is exploitation is different, but to have a long-term strategy in Afghanistan is very entirely different. So I suppose Afghanistan must have a very good relation with India. We must make use it. Officially may not recognize, but people to people contact must able to grow from strength to strength. The another issue which is coming is, what is the role of US? See, remember, no doubt about, US has a good relation with Pakistan today, because they want to exploit Pakistan to their benefit. Especially Trump wants the cryptocurrency business to be started.
Yeah.
Second thing is, they want Pasni Island,
Rare
also
earths.
and rare earth material which are there in Balochistan. They want to exploit, because they are totally dependent on China. China is 85% of rare earth minerals are with China today. So they want to now come out of it. They want in Myanmar, they want in Pakistan. They are working on that line. So the point today is, as far as US is concerned, US will look after its own interest, and US will make use of Pakistan. US will get Pasni Island. Bagram is a critical point, but to me it looks right. Bagram, they cannot get it until unless they do a regime change in Afghanistan, and which is not possible. Afghanistan Taliban will never give Bagram to US, and if they don't give it, they can't be forcibly taken. And if they can't be
Um,
taken forcibly, they want a regime change. But the regime change is not possible. US have tried for 20 years, they not succeeded. So therefore, the situation is like this, that as far as India is concerned, it is our interest that Pakistan become weaker as much as possible. The Pakistan is having its own problem: political instability, economic crisis, terrorism increasing manifold, and the relationship, if it are not good with or Pakistan with Afghanistan, it is in our interest, because the weaker Pakistan is better for us, and also the more the weaker Pakistan, the chances of its breaking become very high. Though this may
oh,
look to be
got it.
speculation, but it can be possible. My point is, that it can be possible, because situation is extremely volatile in Pakistan. And you remember, the people are in Pakistan, especially in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan, are almost feeling that they are likely to get a freedom. So everything is possible. And if you see the POK and Gilgit Pakistan, the people are on the road. They are Muzaffarabad, Mirpur, Jhangar, Kotli, Dadnial,
Yeah,
Bagh,
yeah,
Pakistan, Punch.
absolutely.
They Chakka Jam shut it down. They saying that ये जो दहशतगर्दी है, इसके पीछे वर्दी है. They want to join India, because they say that Indian Kashmir has progressed 75 years ahead, and Pakistan has treated us as a second class citizen. They have been telling us lie. We want to join India. So therefore, the whole situation is fanning out, and we must play our card well. We are a strong
Right.
army. We are the fourth largest economy, likely to become third largest economy in another 2 3 years. So as on today, the Pakistan is an irritant, and Pakistan irritant must be removed. And that's what. And as far as China is concerned, you have to become stronger. You have to become
All right.
stronger on line of actual control. So my point is,
So,
it is in India's interest. The weaker the Pakistan become, the better for us.
and it seems to be becoming weaker by the day, because given the flashpoints right now, can Islamabad really manage to sustain this operational, both militarily and economically, against the Afghanistan, against the Taliban? At what point does the cost become unbearable? They're still repairing the damages, sir, from Operation Sindoor, and the cost of sustained operations against Afghanistan over the last, I think, almost a year and a half. But thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for those insights. We will come back to you, viewers. Stay tuned to the Times of India.
Thank you.